Snow dusted the pines as Ezra Carter stepped onto the porch of his grandmother's lakeside cabin, the only place that still held her voice, her laughter, her warmth. He'd inherited it with love, not war in mind. But waiting on the door, an official notice. Evict notice. Unauthorized occupancy. Lakeview Pines HOA. Ezra's hands tightened. He hadn't broken any rules. No loud music. No unapproved paint. But HOA President Brenna Caldwell had made her move, claiming the cabin was vacant and under association control. What she didn't know? Ezra wasn't just a grandson. He was the legal owner of the private lake and the only parking lot every resident depended on, and he had the 1894 deeds to prove it. This wasn't trespassing. This was reclaiming what was always his. Ezra Carter wasn't running from life. He was returning to it. After his grandmother's passing, the city had become unbearable, every sound, every memory too sharp to bear. So he left his job as a historical archivist, packed her journals, her knitting needles, and drove north to the one place she'd loved most, her secluded cabin on Black Pine Lake. Built in 1922, it was simple. Cedar walls, a stone fireplace, a wraparound porch facing the water. No Wi-Fi, no noise. Just the call of loons and the whisper of wind through the firs. The Lakeview Pines HOA collected $320 a month for road maintenance and community aesthetics. Ezra paid on time. He kept his wood pile stacked, his lawn mowed, his truck washed. But Brenna noticed him. She was in her late 50s, always in a tailored blazer, hair pulled tight, clipboard in hand. She ruled the HOA like a queen. Meetings ran like military briefings. Fines issued like royal decrees. Within weeks, Ezra received his first notice. Unapproved flagpole on property. Violates. Section 4.2b. Remove within 14 days or face a $150 daily fine. He removed it. Then came another. Excessive bird feeders attract wildlife. Removal required. He complied, but the fines kept coming. $75 for non-regulation mailbox color. $120 for unapproved stone path edging. Each letter signed in bold. Brenna Caldwell, President. Lakeview Pines HOA. Ezra wasn't angry. Not yet. He was confused. Why was she targeting him? Then, one icy morning in January, he returned from town to find a red-stamped notice nailed to his door. Evict notice. Unauthorized occupancy. Property to be reclaimed by HOA. No hearing. No warning. Just a legal threat. That's when he knew this wasn't about rules. It was about land, and he wasn't just a resident. He was the last living heir to the Carter family deeds, including one for the private lake and another for the only parking lot serving the entire community. And if Brenna wanted war, she had no idea who she was fighting. Ezra stood at the door, the cold wind biting his face, the eviction notice flapping in his hand. He called the HOA office, straight to voicemail. He drove to the main lodge, a 2-story chalet with a stone chimney and a sign. Lakeview Pines, excellence in community living. Inside, Brenna sat behind a polished oak desk. Sipping tea. You're trespassing, she said without looking up. I live here, Ezra replied. Not according to our records. The property was deemed abandoned after your grandmother's passing. The HOA assumed control for preservation. Preservation? Ezra said. You mean seizure? We followed protocol, she said coolly. No heir claimed it. No taxes paid? I paid the taxes, Ezra said. I have the receipts, she smirked. The notice was sent to the old address, returned as undeliverable. That makes it legal. Ezra pulled out his phone, showed her the cabin. No damage, no neglect. This is harassment. We enforce the rules equally, even for quiet ones. As he turned to leave, a janitor whispered, She's been after that lakefront for years. Wants to build luxury docks. Sell the view. Ezra froze. That night, he dug through his grandmother's old files, yellowed deeds, land surveys, legal transfers, and there it was. 1894 county land grant. His great-grandfather had purchased the Black Pine Lake, a private body of water, and the main parking lot used by all 62 homes. The title was clear. Ezra Carter was the sole owner. He wasn't just a resident, he was the gatekeeper. And if Brenna wanted war, he'd make sure she lost more than just a fight. The fines came daily now, $150 for excessive wood smoke, $200 for unapproved chimney cap, $75 for failure to install security lighting. Ezra's mailbox overflowed with red-stamped notices, all signed by Brenna. He tried appealing, submitted photos, cited code exceptions. The board voted 4-1 to uphold every fine. Brenna smiled as she read the decision aloud. Then came the drone. It hovered over his cabin every afternoon, buzzing like a wasp, recording every move. When Ezra confronted the HOA, they claimed it was surveillance for compliance verification. He called a lawyer. Without evidence of malice or collusion, there's little you can do, the attorney said. But Ezra wasn't done. He installed his own cameras, high-res, night vision, cloud-backed. He filmed the drone. He filmed Brenna's car circling his property at dawn. He filmed her meeting with a real estate developer in a diner parking lot. 2 men in suits. A folder labeled Black Pine Luxury Docks, Phase 1. One night, he walked the shoreline, flashlight in hand, boots crunching on gravel. The lake was pristine, but something was off. Survey stakes, fresh footprints. Someone had been measuring the shore. He took photos, sent them to the county engineer. Reply, no HOA permit for shoreline inspection. Report filed. Ezra now had 2 weapons, the deeds to the lake and parking lot, and evidence of illegal activity. But Brenna wasn't backing down. 2 days later, sheriff's deputies arrived. Court order, one said. HOA claims your property poses a safety hazard. We're conducting an inspection. Ezra stood in the doorway, calm. You'll need a warrant. They left, but the message was clear. Brenna would stop at nothing, so neither would he. The next morning, a bulldozer arrived. It rumbled up the access road, escorted by 2 HOA security trucks. Ezra stood on his porch, coffee in hand, watching. The operator idled near his stone path, the one they claimed was unapproved. Brenna stepped out, flanked by board members. This ends today, she announced. We're removing all non-compliant structures. Ezra walked down slowly. You don't have a court order. We have a board vote and a contractor. And I have cameras rolling, a live stream going, and a call into the county sheriff. A small crowd had gathered, neighbors drawn by the noise. You're violating due process, one man shouted. Brenna ignored him. Begin, she told the operator. The blade lowered. Ezra stepped forward. I own the lake, he said, loud enough for all to hear. And the parking lot. And if that machine moves 1 stone on my property, I'm closing both. No one gets on the water. No one parks. Not even you! Gasps spread through the crowd. You can't do that! Brenna snapped. I can! The deeds are registered with the county. I'll send you a copy. She hesitated. The operator paused. Then, from the back, a woman called out, Wait, does that mean she's been charging us for lake access? But doesn't even own it? Murmurs grew. Brenna turned red. This is a private matter. No, Ezra said. It's a public one. That night he uploaded everything. The deeds, the fines, the drone footage, the meeting with the developer. By morning, it had 200,000 views. Local news picked it up. Then the state attorney general's office, Brenna called, demanding he take it down. He replied, I'll take it down when you resign. She didn't, but she wouldn't have the chance. 3 days later, a forensic auditor arrived. Ezra had filed a formal complaint with the state. Suspicion of HOA financial misconduct. The auditor requested 10 years of records. Brenna refused. The court ordered compliance. What they found was staggering. Over 12 years, $2.8 million in resident fees had vanished, not spent, not invested, embezzled, transferred through shell companies, fake contractors, and offshore accounts. Brenna had been siphoning funds since she took power, using the money to fund her daughter's private school, her luxury vacations, and the very development project she wanted to build on Ezra's lakefront. Photos surfaced. Her at a villa in St. Lucia, her son driving a Tesla paid for by lake maintenance fees. Worse, she'd falsified safety reports, claiming the parking lot was structurally unsound to justify seizing it and building a new one under her control. Ezra handed over his footage, the secret meetings, the unauthorized drone, the illegal survey, stakes. It was all there. The county engineer confirmed. The parking lot was safe, one of the best maintained in the region. Ezra hadn't just defended his home, he'd exposed a multi-million-dollar fraud that had bled an entire community dry. Neighbors who once ignored him now left notes on his porch. "Thank you. We had no idea. You saved us." Even the sheriff shook his hand, but Ezra didn't want praise. He wanted justice. And on a cold Thursday morning, as fog rolled over the lake, federal agents arrived at Brenna's door. Handcuffs clicked. A press release followed. HOA president arrested for fraud, embezzlement, and abuse of power. The video hit 1 million views by noon, but Ezra wasn't done. He had one final move. The special HOA meeting was packed. Residents filled the lodge, some angry, some ashamed, all stunned. Ezra stood at the front, not as a victim, but as a witness. He played the footage. Brenna's lies, the fake invoices, the offshore transfers. He showed the parking lot inspection report, safe for 25-plus years. He revealed the developer's proposal: 18 luxury docks, 3.5 meters in profits, all funded by stolen fees. Silence fell. Then applause, then shouts of, "Resign!" The remaining board members stepped down on the spot. Ezra turned to the crowd. "The lake is mine," he said. "The parking lot is mine. But they don't have to be weapons. They can be solutions." He proposed a plan: lease the lake access, not to a developer, but to the community, at fair market value, with a 10-year payment plan, no interest. All future fees would go into a transparent, audited fund, managed by elected residents. No more secret accounts, no more unchecked power. The vote was unanimous. Applause thundered, but one voice cut through. "And the eviction notice?" Ezra smiled. "It's void." The next morning, he removed the notice from his door. He installed a new sign: "Welcome to Black Pine. Access restored." Below it, a smaller plaque: "In memory of Clara, who loved this place most." The community began rebuilding trust. New bylaws were drafted. An oversight committee formed, and for the first time in years, the lodge hosted a potluck, not out of obligation, but out of unity. Ezra didn't speak. He just sat by the fire, watching the stars. Finally, at peace. 1 year later, the lake and parking lot were officially leased to the community. A transparent resident-run board managed the funds. No more Brenna. No more fear. Ezra didn't become a leader. He became a guardian. He reopened his small farm stand, Ezra's Harvest, selling honey, herbs, and vegetables. Kids stopped by after school. Elders sat on his bench. He even hosted a summer concert on the lawn: acoustic music, lemonade, fireflies. Brenna was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. No parole. At her hearing, she said, "I was doing what I thought was best." The judge replied, "Best for whom?" Ezra never gloated, but when a reporter asked, "Was it worth it?" he looked at the lake, the trees, the stars above. "Yes," he said. It was about more than land. It was about truth. Now, when new residents arrive, they're told 2 things. 1, respect the rules. 2, never underestimate the quiet man with the deed. And every spring, on the anniversary of the eviction notice's removal, the community gathers, not for protest, not for power, for peace, for justice, for the man who held the lake and gave it back.